live, not in the office. Feels kind of casual. Welcome, everybody. I was looking at some of my emails earlier and realized how many I had with a lot of some of the simple questions about Scientology and what it is or what they actually believe. So I thought we could kind of get into that and check in with everybody. Let me catch up on the chat. Hey, pause for Andrea. Thank you so much, Mama Opal, for being here. Marcy, good to see you. Third Eye Open, thank you for being here. Truly, thank you. Who else is here? Jason, good to see you. Oh, it is so nice right now where I am. I don't know where you guys are, but it is amazing. Hey, K-Red, howdy, howdy, howdy. James Steele. Arnie, good to see you. Andrea, aloha. Welcome. Helena, thanks for being here. Did I miss Kellycopter? Aloha, Kellycopter. Thought we'd get into some what Scientologists actually believe questions or anything else you guys want to ask, actually, because I'm kind of just here for the chill. Rainy in Indiana. It actually is starting to rain here in Minnesota. I wanted to be outside and do this, but it was raining and the snow melted, by the way. So now I've got all these leaves in my yard again. You know, last time we were talking about how, hey, Jersey Jan, maybe I was not going to have to rake the leaves because it snowed. Well, the snow all melted, and guess what's there? All the leaves. All the leaves. So, yeah, I don't know. I might just wait till the next snow. Or maybe get out there with the leaf blower. I don't know. I still can't figure out which one's better for the grass. We shall see. So, you guys, one of the questions that like I said, I've been looking through some emails and noticing I'm getting more questions about what Scientologists actually believe. And I think it's because there's a lot of new people to the channel and SPTV, which I think is fabulous. Hey, Marla, welcome. Elizabeth, welcome. Call before the storm on Wednesday. Well, if you're getting a storm in Colorado Wednesday, we might be getting something in Minnesota then. I got to pay attention to that. Wednesday, huh? Bina, welcome. I love tracking the weather. So anyways, I'm going to jump in with a couple of the questions that I got. But if you guys have questions, let me know and I'll jump in on those too. Yesterday, I took some time off. Hey, old Fritz. Which was nice, really nice, because I put up my Christmas tree with my granddaughter who spent the night, which that was a lot of fun. Henratty, hey from Scotland. I feel like you haven't really lived till you hang out with a 3-year-old. My granddaughter's 3. Cubana Chica, good to see you. It's a trip. Seeing the world through the eyes of a 3-year-old is actually pretty amazing. Just everything that she finds, the simplest things, to be so intriguing, and I love that. And I love that she's starting to develop her own choices, you know what I'm saying, her own preferences for everything from food to what she wears. It's really neat to see. And I'm so happy that my grandkids will never be in Scientology. They are the first generation of my family to not be in Scientology in 4 generations. And that thrills me to no end. And one of the questions that was coming up in my email repeatedly was kind of like, what do Scientology... Oh, sorry, Kelly, what did you say? I bet she had a blast putting up the tree with you. Yes, she did. I did. I had not put up in a Christmas tree in a couple of years, actually. Gloria, hi. Yeah, it's been a couple of years since I put a tree up. And it was really nice to actually do it. So we did. I'll have to show it to you. It's a small little tree, nothing super crazy. Meditating with love, aloha. Yeah, it's a small little, well, I don't know, maybe it's 5 feet, maybe it's a little more. I thought it would be taller. I'm really questioning that I actually got the tree that I ordered, but I like it. It's working. It's doing its job. So one of the questions I get a lot is, what do Scientologists believe happens when you die? And many of you might be familiar with that. Scientologists believe in reincarnation or in you know what, I'm going to take in that you're going to be born again into another body. And I know there's a difference between reincarnation and believing in past lives, because in Scientology, L. Ron Hubbard mostly focus on that you're going to go pick up another human body. But I've heard Scientologists too talk about how their Uncle Joe is like now their dog, which I always thought was weird. Marcy, thank you for the super sticker. I can only imagine how amazing that must be knowing your grandkids aren't in Scientology. Yes, it is hugely makes me happy. That's why I like to say it every time I get a chance that, this is my grandson, the first never in our family in 4 generations. I want to get them shirts that say that, but might be weird for them and their friends. But it was fantastic. It wasn't Oliver's. Oliver is here some of the time. He was with his dad, my grandson. So, but when we left, there's still space on the tree to put more ornaments. So I figure I'll do that with Oliver. I know, old Fritz. I know it's only the 3rd, but I figure once we're past Halloween, and I've not done it in so long. I mean, 2 years for sure, maybe even 3 that I didn't put up a tree. This is actually huge. It's a big deal for me to put up a tree this year. It was, and I think part of that, not to derail too much, but is because when we found out Tony had cancer, it was in December. That tree did not get put up, and it didn't get put up for the 2 Christmases after that. And now, tree's going back up. The tree is up. And I think you would love that. And if you're new to my channel and don't know, Tony was my partner who passed away now 5 months, almost 5 months. I think we're just a week from it being 5 months. Hey, it's really me. I can tell you this though, I don't believe he went to the implant station, which is something else Scientologists believe in. K-Red says, as soon as we get Halloween packed away, Christmas comes out. Yes. Paula, you hit the nail on the head. Your soul needs that tree. I agree. It really feels like this full circle moment of like, because we learned of his cancer in December a few years ago, it just, Christmas just wasn't, we didn't see it the same way. Hey, Mike, good to see you too. Hey, Gloria. Yeah, I was motivated to put up the tree. Tony would be happy I'm putting mine up next week. That's fantastic. Old Fritz, that's cool. James, you're hilarious. Natalie, I sat on a leaf blower today. That really put the wind up me. Deanna Downey, hello. Aloha, and thank you for being here. I thought we'd just talk about some random Scientology beliefs and give me an opportunity to catch up with you guys, being it's the weekend. Mike, good to see you. Not sure if I said hi or not yet. Kelly, you wait till December 1st. Is that the rule? You guys tell me. So when do you guys have a date that this is when we put the tree up? Kelly Copter says it's December 1st for her. Me, it is the day after Halloween. I like to enjoy it for as long as possible. So that gives me like 2 months to be able to enjoy it. And like I said, this year was a really special year to get that tree back up. James, 31st of December. Mike says after Thanksgiving. I think that is a popular date to get it up after Thanksgiving. Andrea says, usually the week of Thanksgiving, we get a real tree, so it's hard to put it up too early. Exactly. That's why I went with a faux tree. Alice Fund, day after Thanksgiving. Yep. Ayush, my channel is about leaving Scientology, life after a cult. I talk about the cult that I grew up in with 3 generations of my family, and leaving and life after that. So if you have any questions about what Scientologists actually believe, let me know. A week before Christmas, worked in retail, gave me a Helena, that's funny. Yeah, Andrea, I'm all about the faux as well. It's really me. When you were still in the cult, what do people chat about as their social events? Do folks just chat about ordinary topics or Scientology stuff? It is mostly Scientology stuff. And you know what? It's really me is a phenomenal question. And I will tell you why. Because in the Scientology world, you're always supposed to be doing things for Scientology. That's the whole idea, is that if you're not a staff member, you're a Scientologist, you're on course, you're getting auditing, you're donating, you're selling books, you're bringing people into Scientology. And if you have time to go on vacation, then you're not really doing that, I think is kind of the thought. Hey, Bella Notes, welcome. So, yeah, it's very much, I just totally lost my train of thought. I got to go back to your questions. What do they chat about? Okay, the weather, but mostly Scientology. My course is so great. I love it. Upcoming events. You really keep it to Scientology speak. When I was a Scientologist, you didn't want to let people know, like if you were going on vacation, just because, you know, it was frowned upon. And this is in the world of being a public Scientologist. I'm not even talking about staff and the Sea organization. So it's not even, and in Scientology, there's this idea that just social chit chat is just kind of a waste of time, which, you know what, it's a way to grease the wheels of interaction, you know, find some things you can agree on and get the conversation going. But for them, it's all about their next step, what they're doing in Scientology. That is pretty much it. Once in a while, you know, people will talk about their kids and stuff too, but mostly it's what you're doing in and for Scientology. It's hard because you can't really you can have other interests, but you really downplay it in Scientology. It's considered other fish to fry. Paula, vacation, why do you need a break from us? Me? No, I just took a day off yesterday. Definitely don't need a break from you guys. Oh, you mean Scientology, vacation, why do you need a break from us? Yeah, totally that. And you got to remember, Scientology is always putting the full court press on people. Like, hey, it's now or never. We have this one breath in eternity to clear the planet. Cubana Chica says, I could not believe when I learned the underpaid Sea Org members had to buy David Miscavige Christmas presents. Yes, that is true. There's a collection that's taken up. I know in the where David Miscavige, you know, at the international base, where not just Christmas, but birthdays, which is really sick. Sandy, good to see you. Growing up, Santa would put up our tree on Christmas Eve after we went to bed. Oh, wow. See, I could never wait that long. I could never wait that long. Third Eye Open, thank you for the reminder, everybody. Double tap your screen if you're on your phone, or hit like on your computer, and check your subscribe button too. K-Rad says, I bought a 9-foot tree last year after Christmas. Now I'm moving to an 8-foot ceiling house. Bummer. No kidding. I'm kind of glad I went for, I mean, I could handle a taller one, but I'm kind of glad I went with a smaller one. I can reach the top. Yeah, it is sad that staff members have to donate to get David Miscavige something for Christmas. Out of their $50 a week, you know, $47 and change after some stuff gets taken out. It really is ridiculous, especially considering he has access. There's nothing he wants for. The custom suits, the luxury items, the food flown in, all of the things. The man wants for nothing. He has access to all of that. But let's have the people getting $50 a week living in bunk beds 3 high to fork over some money. Jersey Jan says, what I would get David Miscavige, I don't think I should stay here. Oh, I'm telling you, that is something that, especially now, it's just so wrong that they would have to do that. Send to Scientology, you're right. They really do try to drain their most devoted. Absolutely. And it keeps up this dedication, this, you know, David Miscavige is really pushing in Scientology that he is the leader of Scientology. But in a way of even taking over how Scientologists would see L. Ron Hubbard is how David Miscavige wants them to see him. K-Ride said, let's get him a 6-foot snake. Paula, he probably puts the gifts up on a shelf like trophies like an athlete would do. Could be. One year it was a motorcycle. That motorcycle that he has, there's pictures of him and Tom Cruise with his motorcycle. That was one of them. That's right, Mama Opal. It would have to be a hungry 6-foot snake. Oh, the man just has no shame. No shame. That's why you'll see him at the center of all the Scientology events. Bella notes, when my brother passed, my daughter, who was 11 at the time, made tree toppers with his pick on them for everyone. That is beautiful. Marla, all in, never in. I've always wondered about the self-audit process. So when you do self-auditing, that is the upper levels in Scientology, operating Thetan levels 1 through 8, except for 4 and 5 are actually delivered with an auditor, but you basically you do it telepathically where you're asking yourself the questions, or the body Thetans if you're auditing a body Thetan. Helena, that's funny. Perhaps an all-inclusive trip to the same hotel where Diddy is currently staying. That would be good for David Miscavige. Nancy, was there one thing in the real world that took you the longest to get used to? Oh, Nancy, that's a great question. Oh, what took me the longest to get used to? Probably not oversharing. And even still, I don't know if struggle's the word. I think because now I don't overshare as much, but I'm still very comfortable talking about a lot of different things. So it might seem that way, but I think that's what's taken me the longest thing to get used to, is that I can have boundaries, and I can have the boundaries of my choosing and different boundaries with different people. I would say, because in Scientology, you have to answer every question that's asked of you. You have to respond to everything from Scientology, and you can't withhold anything. You can't have any secrets. Marcy, you're an oversharer and am a never in. Yeah. James, he probably would get, maybe shoes made from it. I don't know. But that is a very common thing in Scientology because of the number of interrogations that everybody goes through on a regular basis. And, remember in Scientology that they're called security checks, or there's a procedure called the false purpose rundown, which is done to get rid of any evil intentions you might have, or if you're gay. It also doubles as conversion therapy in Scientology, that false purpose rundown. Scientology up north, good to see you. I loved your costumes the other day outside of Scientology there. That was fantastic. That was great. We're just talking about some things like any questions anybody has really about Scientology, what it's like being a Scientologist, what the beliefs are, or even life after. Another thing that people will ask too about is in regard to kind of like the oversharing in the interrogations is, I've gotten some questions on how often that happens. It all depends on what you're doing in Scientology. If you're a Sea Organization member, you might, I feel like Sea Organization members get more interrogations than anyone. Scientology up north says, thank you. We were rocking to Dan Walks LA. Amazing songs. Truly. Dan Walks LA is here on YouTube, and he's created some really fun music. I love it. Do you ever slip into Scientology lingo with Shelby? Bella notes, great question. I do not, because Shelby really doesn't like it. I will if I need to, if I don't know how to verbalize something without using Scientology, I will say, hey, I'm going to use a Scientology term. And then I do, and then she will immediately tell me how to use, what the non-Scientology term is. Sin to Scientology, what did a Sea Org Christmas look like? Did they celebrate Hanukkah or other religious holidays? No, just Christmas. And it depends on what your job was. When I remember working in the dining room as a Sea Org member, and we would have just maybe like a nicer dinner. And then would try to play Christmas music in the dining room and make it festive that way. Some people, if you had to ask permission to have Christmas off, the day off. If your statistics were really good and you had approval and the organization you were in was doing really good, sometimes they would go to a movie together as a group. I know one year we went to, I think it was Disneyland on Christmas. That's right, Jersey Jan. See or get more interrogations until you ask, where's Shelly? Then as a public person, you do. If you share doubts about Scientology, you will get a security check. Whether you're a public person, a staff member, or a Sea Org member, you will get a security check. James Steele, would you like to sit down and interview David Miscavige face to face? Yes, absolutely. I love interviewing people on my channel. Absolutely, I would. He would never do it. Darling Civilon, I saved my sister from being sucked in. She signed up for a meeting of women trying to move on from an abusive relationship. They tried selling her the book and she started recognizing all the lingo. Oh my gosh. I hate that they infiltrate groups where people are so vulnerable. Oh, darling, you have no idea. Well, you probably have an idea of the hurt you saved your sister from. Truly. Has Shelby shared what helped her stop using Scientology lingo, less brainwashing? What made her stop? No, I think it's just been part of her healing for her to use the correct words for things. She's just more a stickler about it than I am. Sometimes if I'm speaking to my former Scientology friends, it can be easier to explain something using a Scientology concept because we both know what it means. And then we try to translate it into the real world, into, well, the actual language around that. Scientology up north, do you ever fall into depression because of the years that you lost in Scientology? There's been so much talk about recovery. Do you think this is relevant for most? I do not, I wouldn't say, no, I don't fall into a depression because of Scientology or I see the time that I lost. Because I don't look at it like that. I look at it like it was an experience, one I wish I didn't have to have. But I learned a lot, not because of Scientology, but in spite of Scientology in terms of, I mean, let's be honest, just surviving something that, you know, they're a abusive human trafficking cult. But I don't, because I don't spend a lot of time, in fact, almost none, on like, oh, I'm so upset that that happened or that I was in Scientology for so long. I kind of feel at this point, I'm not in Scientology anymore. So I don't want to spend any more time being upset about it unless I'm processing something and that upset and those emotions naturally come out. You know what I'm saying? I try to more focus on, thank God I'm not there anymore and that I have my life today to be happy and to create as much joy and embrace as much happiness as I can get. I don't want to waste it being bummed out about, you know, my past. It's like having to let it go to a degree. For me, letting it go is what helped with my, you know, a lot of my recovery from Scientology. Thank you, darling. Thank you. Laurie, I'm practicing the vertical because each time I've done one when I've not been home, I somehow mess it up. So I think I've got the settings and stuff correct now to see if it actually works better. Bella notes, if you could give advice to a newly out Scientologist, what would the number one thing be? Find a good therapist if you're ready for it. If you're ready for it. A lot of them are not going to be ready for it right off the bat because of all the things that L. Ron Hubbard said about about psychiatry being evil. But as soon as you are, somebody, maybe cognitive behavioral therapy, or even a therapist who specializes in high control groups or, you know, any kind of trauma. And that would probably be the number one thing. And then it would be just get on with like focusing on your life. What do you need? What does your family need? And focus on yourself. But it's going to take time. And that's where I think therapy comes in. And if you're not ready for therapy, would you maybe read some books about it or podcasts or watch more YouTube videos, especially of former members, because that can help a lot in seeing, wow, that person realized this about Scientology and that relates, like I can relate to that. Marcy, you're totally right. I think it's a good way to look at one's past no matter what, to just use the past as part of what makes you you, if that makes sense. Completely does. Completely does. Oh, Lori, my secret lair. I'm actually in my living room right now. Yeah, that was a great question. Tobias, DBT is an excellent form of therapy for trauma. DBT. Why am I going blank? CBT? I know cognitive behavioral therapy, but I'm not sure I know what DBT is. Oh, Laura, you thought I was on the road? No. Dialectical behavior therapy. Oh, interesting. Okay, I'll check that out. Something, though, I think they can do. But for many Scientologists, because Scientology tells them that psychiatry is the cause of all evils on this planet. They even blame psychiatry for like the Xenu times, for things that happen on, L. Ron Hubbard calls it the whole track, right here to the beginning of time for Thetans. Marla, because of your real estate experience, are you concerned about the pack base occupying L. Ron Hubbard way for an extended time? Even without my experience in real estate, I would be concerned about that. Absolutely. It's bizarre. I'm not sure how they're getting away with it or why at all. But they are. I mean, they are having people have events there that have nothing to do with Scientology that are kind of getting caught in the mix of all this. But I think Scientology is full of it for shutting down that street the way that they have been. It's absolutely ridiculous. Bridge 1872, welcome. Good to see you. Yeah, Scientology is not known for making, the most like sane decisions when it comes to dealing with members of the public. Because remember, even in Scientology, it's you don't explain. First rule of Scientology is don't talk about Scientology. So they tell people to read a book. They don't want their members explaining it because let's be honest, they don't trust them to. It's kind of funny when you think about it. When you don't trust your own members, the dream times, hi. Hey, Amanda, thank you. V Bombs, welcome from New York. Boxer Heather, aloha. Did you talk about raising kids not to exhibit emotion? OBG Foster, I've not. That's a great topic, actually. So here's how I approach that with my children. I didn't stop my children from experiencing their emotions, but if they were throwing a fit, I would say, okay, you get to feel that way, but go do it in your room. And then let's talk about it when you're ready. But I did not raise my children to not experience emotions. Now, having said that, they were raised by someone who suppressed her emotions. So I would say, because my girls were adults by the time I left Scientology, and my son was, what was he, 13, 14? I think I did not model expressing emotions in a healthy way because I was a Scientologist. I didn't force that onto my children and say like, oh, emotions are bad, you can't experience them. But I think by virtue of having been a Scientologist for so long, while I was raising my children, I don't feel I modeled dealing with emotions in a healthy way. I suppressed them. I put them into a box off to the side. Scientology up north. Miriam Francis recently said that because of the current activism movement, for the first time in her life, she believes that Scientology's abusive practices can come to an end. Do you feel the same? Let me think about that for a minute. Because of all the current activism, I do. I think the majority of it. I feel like there's still going to be hardcore cult people still trying to do Scientology long after it's really supposed to be gone. But yes, I would agree that because of the activism, because there's so many people never in Scientology, but all in on bringing down this cult, because of all of you, I feel more confident about that. I would agree with that. Cubana Chica, had your two youngest studied much Scientology? No, very little. My middle daughter did some of the children's courses. My son, I'm not sure he even did that. It was mostly my older daughter, Shelby, who really kind of grabbed onto it. Bridge, Clearwater is offering touch assist for illness and injuries on Saturdays. Oh my gosh. That's so ridiculous. That's crazy. Hey, Professor Kakan, good to see you. Aloha to you as well. We're just talking like random Scientology questions and catching up with the chat. Jersey Jan says, let's all go to the org or flag and have a holiday party outside. You could. Florida be nice in the wintertime. James Steele, will Scientology go underground like Fight Club and the Wombles? Yes, I think they will. I totally think they will. Robert, I got into Scientology pre-internet. Is the internet killing off the cult of Scientology? I would say so. I think it's a better way of having people having access to information and being able to connect with other people who left, or at least hear the stories of people who have left. The survivor stories are so important. And I've spoken to cult experts about this, and they said those survivor stories are what create the most impact with people still in, especially knowing that they left Scientology and have life after that. That's what I like to share, just like what life is like after Scientology. OBG Foster, if you're sick of being asked for money, can you get a touch assist for that? No, but they probably have an interrogation to give you. They absolutely do. Hey, Joe, welcome. Thank you for being here. Andrew B., you made it live. Hip, hip, hooray. Bella notes, have both of your exes left Scientology, and did they also model similar to you emotions? Both my exes, left Scientology. My first husband, I was 17 when we got married. We were only married for a couple of years. That's a good question. Did he really model emotions? He was raised, in Scientology as well. But I think you know what? I don't know how to answer that question for my first husband, because I didn't really see, I don't think there's a huge difference. I think he's modeled them better. He did not stay involved in Scientology after we left the Sea organization, and I did. So I do believe, thinking about it, he did model that better than I did. My second husband left Scientology. We left together. He was not raised in Scientology. How old was he? I want to say he was in his 30s when he got into Scientology. And so because of that, he had all that time to, it wasn't like it was with me. I would just, I'll give you an example here. I remember once my former husband was very upset with me. It was when we were splitting up, and he would be angry, and I would just, get my TRs in, my training routines, and just sit there and acknowledge him, but not engage. And that was a Scientology response. That wasn't an actual, if you're in a, later on, I learned that that's BS. I need to be in touch with those emotions and communicate. And that definitely changed. But because he had gotten to Scientology earlier, I think he was much further along when it came to expressing his emotions, much more than I was. V-Bomb, saw the interview with Aaron the other day. I feel like you all address what I've been feeling. We all need to express some grace for the ex-Scientology community. I agree. I would go a step further and say really for everybody, for any people. James Steele, are there any fundamental Scientology principles that you still believe in? No. The things that I still believe in, even if I learned it in Scientology, it's because I found out that they're universal truths or truths you can find in other places. So the ones that resonated with me, anything that L. Ron Hubbard himself came up with, he stole so much. But the auditing, other things in Scientology, his belief in aliens and space travel and all of that, I don't know. I do not think we're alone in the universe, but I don't believe it the way L. Ron Hubbard said. But the earlier comment, you're so right about the grace. I think doing that with everyone, I think it's really easy on the internet to just say whatever you want to say, especially when you don't have to use your own name and stuff, and things can get heated. But when it comes to content creators too, and people who've left Scientology, or everybody has their own struggle, even if you didn't. There's things that many of you have experienced in life that's traumatic. And I think that we can acknowledge and work through our trauma. There's a time and space for that, but it never gives anybody a license to use it to hurt somebody else or to weaponize it in a way to hurt somebody else. That's where I've learned that, grace really comes in. Yeah, Jersey Jan, you're right. It's a miracle anyone has a successful marriage in the cult of Scientology. Amanda, how long before Scientology collapses? Oh, I guess it's how we define collapse. I do believe their recruitment is pretty dried up, but they have the money and the support from some hardcore members to survive for years. But I think people are going to age out. I think we're going to see, look what we see on live streams of people outside Scientology locations. We're seeing a lot of older people, not so much young people. And what's going to happen when they all pass away? If there's not new people, that's going to be a lot of it's what's negatively affecting Scientology right now, is some of the second and third generations are not having it, especially the third. Gen Zs are not down with Scientology. Even if their parents are, they're on the internet. They grew up with social media. They've had more exposure and will probably hear more of the truth about Scientology. So Amanda, I don't know exactly from a timeline perspective. I hope it happens in my lifetime. Which I hope to live a long time, which means I think that it can. I think what opened the eyes of the general public was its South Park episode, or was it the strange public behavior of Tom Cruise on Oprah? I think the South Park episode did a lot for it. I think Tom Cruise's bizarre behavior brought attention to Scientology, because people were like, whoa, look at that dude. Why is he being bizarre? Why is he yelling to Brooke Shields? Why is he yelling at her about, her postpartum depression that he knows nothing about? That definitely leads people. The crazy and negative behavior by Scientologists is what raises awareness about Scientologists and it being a cult. That's why I always say Scientology is doing they're their biggest enemy. The biggest enemy to Scientology is Scientology. Could David Miscavige claim L. Ron Hubbard wants all the members to drop their bodies and do a Jim Jones? Honestly, when it comes to David Miscavige, I think anything is possible. I don't believe that Scientologists would go for that. I think there'll be a few that would, a few zealots, but the majority, no. I don't think they would do that. Bella notes, how did Tony impact your kids' lives in the way he showed his love for you and them? Did they embrace immediately or hesitate to receive it? I'd say they embraced it. Maybe not immediately, but that's just because as you get to know him, kind of a thing. My children amazingly have better boundaries than I do. So they kind of are like, well, show me I can trust you, like taking the time to get to know someone. But they did embrace it. And I think they really appreciated how and that he loved me and that I was so happy. And I think that's the biggest impact, is them seeing me so happy and seeing me doing things in life that I never did before. Things that I didn't think I could do, that my Tony just encouraged me to do. And, he was my biggest cheerleader. And I think they could see those changes in me because of how he loved me. Paula says, I always thought it was creepy on Tom's part that Katie said she had his poster up on her wall when she was a kid. I feel like he took advantage of infatuation. Of course he did. Yeah, that is a little weird that's a big age difference there. And I'm sure, she still had a crush. Hey, Robin Miners. I'm so glad you're all in for a Nat chat, because that is what we were doing. We're tackling like any Scientology questions. I know we got a lot of people, new people who are joining us as well. Remember, if you're here on the live stream, to hit the like and check your subscribe as well. I got a couple emails too from people who were unsubscribed. I don't have the power to unsubscribe anyone. So if you were unsubscribed, I don't know how and why that happens. It happens to me on other channels, and I have to go check my subscribe button all the time. Thank you, Mama Opal. Yeah, let's show that like button some aloha. Thank you, Jersey Jan, for the hot hearts for Tony. I have a friend coming for Thanksgiving who you all know. I have not spoken to her yet about if she shared it publicly, so I'm not going to share it yet. But I reached out and said, I could really shake up my Thanksgiving, being it's going to be first Thanksgiving without my Tony. And she said yes, she would come. Mike, love and respect to my Tony and to you, Natalie, for being so lovely and sharing your life with all of us. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate that. Thank you guys for being here and for listening and being part of it. Cleared for free. How is it there are LRH lectures videos on YouTube by Maurizio, I think, where he talks about OT3 and info, and it appears that they are presented by Cult of Scientology. No bad comments. No idea. You know what it could be? Maybe it is, I don't know that channel, but there are people outside of Scientology who practice Scientology. I think they're called the Free Zone or Independent Scientologists, and they will openly speak about things about Scientology, but that's not Scientology, the organization. So maybe that's why. No way, Dream Times. Really? You're starting to get the reverse? YouTube is subscribing me to channels I had never watched before? I have not heard of that. Scientology up north. Do you still have travel plans, even international? Oh, yeah. I need to renew my passport, so I don't have international plans right now. But I want to go see my family back home in Hawaii, maybe in the spring. But I don't have any set travel plans right now. Bella notes, what is your must-have for Thanksgiving dinner? Oh, gosh. Probably the pies. Honestly. Yeah, I am all about desserts when it comes to Thanksgiving. And my sister's bringing them this year from this fabulous pie place, so I'm excited. I'm also a big fan of stuffing and cranberry sauce. Bella, no. Okay, we get the one. How's Odin doing these days? Joe, he's doing great. He's doing great. I spoke to Tony's sister not that long ago. Yeah, this dog is living his best life. He's doing fantastic. Amanda, they are called field staff members. Well, the people outside of Scientology practicing Scientology doesn't like them. They call them squirrels. Their field staff members are Scientologists in good standing, getting people to pay money to Scientology. The people who do Scientology outside of Scientology, like without their approval, without their consent, without their coordination, they are called squirrels by Scientology because it's competition and they're not paying any money. Good night, James. Oh, Jolie, that's interesting. I've not heard of that, being subscribed without subscribing. Yeah, just a northern girl. Don't guess, just in case you guess correctly. I have no poker face. Yeah, Bella notes, I can't do it online because it's a name change. I haven't had a passport since I was married. Oh my gosh, what's it been, like 13, 14 years ago? So I have to send in some added, I have to do it the old school way, but I should go double check and be sure of it. Rachel, welcome. Oh, Mike, mashed potatoes is a good one. Sweet potatoes is one too I like. Josiah, good afternoon to you too. Hey, Abraham. I haven't seen you since we played werewolves. That was so fun. Scientolo Geek. Hey, good to see you too. I feel like I haven't seen you in a while. Wow, Amanda, you had field auditors at Narconon and a Class 8 senior CS. Yeah. Yeah, as long as you're, under the purview of Scientology, as long as they can still bring you in for interrogations, you can sell those services. They got to get their cut too. Lele, good morning. Good morning for you in Australia. I love that. Yeah, it is something. Joe, hi from England. Small fun fact, my youngest sister grew up in England. She was born in Hawaii, but her mom moved to England after her mom divorced our dad. So it's kind of interesting because she kind of looks like me, but she's much younger, but she has an English accent. Mama Opal, we got on the Thanksgiving topic, which is how we got onto food. Nisa, do you make your cranberry sauce fresh and make it yourself, or do you get it in a can? I am not really that active in the kitchen, so I will, if I'm in, so we'll potluck it. It's how we do it with our family. I'll order it from someplace who knows how to do it, but I am not opposed to a can because I like that canned cranberry sauce actually. But there's an orange rosemary cranberry sauce that a local place does that I like to get it from. Ah, Abraham, what a bummer. I hope you feel better soon. Oh, you were sick all week? Dang. Well, would not have known seeing you there. Scientology Geek, I'd love that. Yeah, shoot me an email. That'd be fantastic. I'd love to get caught up too on what you're doing. Pause for Andrea. You're taking down your Halloween decorations now? Oh yeah, no, I got Christmas decorations up. I put up a tree with my granddaughter yesterday. Yeah. And my daughter. It was so much fun. Oh, Rachel, you're making me hungry. Duchess Diana, good to see you too. Oh, Lele, it's 7:45 Monday morning in Melbourne, right? Melbourne. Jersey Jan, would your younger sister want to come on the show? She probably would, but she had no exposure to Scientology. Well, I take that back. She did do a course one time when she was a teenager with my kids. She's my sister, my youngest, is closer to my children in age than she is to me. She's my half sister, but I never think of her as a half sister. Mama Opal, you did steaks for Thanksgiving. Good for you. Oh, Professor Kakan, that sounds amazing. Our potluck contribution always pumpkin pie from scratch. Oh, I love that. Annette, welcome from Sweden. Good to see you. Just a Northern Girl, do you and your family watch the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade? It's one of my guilty pleasures. Sit and make homemade Christmas cards while watching. I like to watch it. Is it, here's a question. Is it always on the same channel? Because I don't have local channels. I think I only have one. If it's on that channel, I'll be able to watch it. Unless there's a way for me to watch it. I need to figure out all my streaming stuff, actually. I should do that today. I feel like I'm paying for things I don't need, and I don't know how to access, I do need to be able to access a local channel. Joe, my son said the new movie Heretic mentioned Scientology when talking about any religion you believe in, even though it started off as a story. Oh, I'm not familiar with that. Hey, Tanya, good morning. Thank you, Nancy. I got my gray colored not that long ago, just the other day, which I'm always happy about. Mike, was there a moment that you beat yourself up for falling for the cult, or did you think, which I do, that because you were born and raised, of course that's all you knew? Yeah, it's all I knew, so I don't. I've beat myself up a little bit about not leaving sooner, but I recognize that there's nothing helpful about that, and that I just need to give myself some grace and recognize that I was making decisions, the best decisions I thought I could with the information that I had. But my days of beating myself up are over. I don't believe in doing that for anything. I feel like my time, especially when I was in the Sea Org and a staff member, that Scientology took so much of my life and my mind that I'm not giving it to them. Which might sound funny, being I talk about Scientology on a daily basis on my channel, but it's different. That's me choosing to talk about it and sharing about it to raise awareness to help expose Scientology. Oh, Jersey Jan, I love your donut tradition. Duchess Diana, that's great. So is it called Natalie or Webster, the street? You're right, Abraham. It's probably going to be streamed online, the Macy's Thanksgiving Parade. I should look it up now. Bridge, I didn't know that. The Broadway show Shrek also mentioned Scientology in it sarcastically. Wow. Cheryl Ford, welcome. I want to see that Heretic movie too. Is it in theaters or is it on streaming? Oh, Bella Notes, your Seattle tradition sounds awesome. There is an outdoor German Christmas market that happens by where I live, and it starts the day after Thanksgiving. I'm definitely going to go to that with my Thanksgiving house guests and my family. Paula, it would be interesting to hear your sister's viewpoint from the family, if it affected her in a different way, what she was told, how she felt about the low contact with her family, etc. My youngest sister, yeah, I'll have to ask her about that. That's a good idea. Margaret, is that when you have your tree up, December 23rd until January 6th? Oh, Duchess Diana, the street is called Natalie Way. I love that. Yeah, Lele, Sins of Scientology's David Mayo episode is a really good one to listen to. Mike, Natalie, you seem that you have a very healthy outlook on when you were in and how you left. Thanks so for answering my question. Absolutely. I think that's the only way to do it because, we can't, I don't think we can heal. Beating ourselves up is what Scientology wanted us to do. It's what they encourage us to do. Guilt, shame, all of those things. And when you let go of that, the other thing I came to realize in getting to know so many people outside of Scientology is that we're all struggling with something. Everybody is struggling with something at some point. So we're all kind of in the same situation where we're just trying to figure out how to be happy, right? Finding ways to just make it through. And I think when I realized that my experience, details of it is very different from most, but the effects of it is not that different from many. I agree with you, Sandy. I'm all for holidays where we get to sell, food is a big part of it. Abraham, I'm with you. Not much of a cook either, but I do love to eat. Angie Mo, welcome. Lele, great to catch live as I'm normally on my way to work now. Day off. I'm a disability support worker. Wow. I'm glad you're here on your day off. Jolie, you go have fun with your new kitchen faucet. I'm glad you got to be here. OBG Foster, have you met people in real life who escaped from some other cult? Do you have an instant bond? Yes. In fact, one of my friends I've known for well over a decade now was in a different cult. And it was an instant bond, now that I think about it. Professor Kakan, you're right. Scientology would be happy if exes just dropped our bods. That's right. Just drop the body. Yeah, they would. Marcy says, I'm lucky my son is a chef. He'll be given many Thanksgiving duties. Ooh, you're so lucky. You're fortunate. I like that. Abraham, are you going to do the cooking, Abraham? Doris, hey. Your first live greetings from the Bronx. Welcome. Make sure you check your subscribe and hit that like. Kay, thank you for the super sticker. Hello from Ontario, Canada, Natalie. This is my first time on your channel. I found you through Reese. Oh, I love that. That is lovely. I always have the best time doing videos with Reese. I mean, we talk outside of that, but truly, I find it so helpful, and it's so nice to talk to somebody who's, who lost their person. That really has been helpful. Just like with many of you guys have many have reached out and shared their experiences with losing someone, and it gives me a lot of hope. Mama Opal, Natalie and Reese videos are so much fun. Yeah, I think so. Amanda, it's been 20 years since you got out. Wow. If you can say, and you don't have to, where were you on lines at, or where were you doing Scientology? Doris, you found me through Aaron. That's awesome. That's great, Doris. Make sure you check your subscribe as well. I've been thinking about going, and I should take some pieces of that video I did with Aaron and make individual videos from it, because a lot of questions about my story are in that video, but they're worth repeating. JNC, welcome. Natalie, I enjoy you and Reese together. Kudos. Thank you. I appreciate that. I really do too. It's been really helpful for me. It really has. We have a good time. There's just so much to talk about. Paula, starting your stream the other day, laughing uncontrollably. Oh, because I didn't hit live? That's right. I was just dying. And it's so right. Sometimes you just need a nonsense laugh. I would agree. Absolutely. Oh, Abraham, that's a great idea. Make shorts out of them. I should do more of that. That's a great idea, Abraham. I was also going to play around with plugging in my camera and see what the video looks like. I use my computer camera, but I have a, what do they call it? I don't even know what they call it. A Canon. Duchess Diana, I always love listening to you and Reese. Former cult of Scientology peeps have a beautiful way of communicating their feelings and reaching out. Oh, that's very nice of you to say. Stasia, I'm glad you got some time with your sister. Siblings dinners, that's the best. Amanda, I was at Narconon Arrowhead for 5 years working with the Class 8 CS. So that's a Class 8 case supervisor. That's a highly trained person in Scientology. Then I was in Kansas City. I met Reese there. Wow. Very cool. Very cool. OBG Foster, that is a great idea. Shorts from this video. That is a great idea. I don't know why. I feel like I wouldn't have thought that. Hey, Cricket Cinema. Cricket Cinema has the funniest memes that are made. You guys should definitely check out that person's channel. I love seeing them. They make me laugh. Oh, Joe, the book I decided to put on hold until I have a little bit more bandwidth. It was just too much to try to process the book, the parts earlier in my life while going through, figuring out life without my Tony. It just was too much. And so I'm just like, we're putting a pin in that. After the holidays is my new goal. J.M. Osborne, how do Scientologists think they can ever clear the planet if it's so expensive to go clear that the vast majority of humanity could never afford it? Okay, so in Scientology, when they say clear the planet, to be clear in Scientology means you don't have your reactive mind, which is something they believe that people have, which is made up of mental image pictures of times of pain and unconsciousness. And you rid that through Scientology auditing. And that if enough people do that, if enough people move up Scientology's bridge to total freedom, I don't have my microphone, so it's not the same. If enough people do that it would create this calming effect on the planet. So it's not that every single person has to do it, just enough people to change the balance of what Scientology calls free theta. Basically, if you can free enough body thetans in Scientology, you can clear the planet. So they don't need the vast majority to do it. And they also believe that people can join staff or the Sea organization. You know what I'm saying? So that they can contribute in other ways and get some of that auditing discounted or for free as a staff member. Roy, no, I'm not getting a cold. I got some nasty fall allergies, though. I finally remembered to take my allergy meds. Lele, I was so impressed with Dan Walks LA's music. It should be used and played during the Scientology Christmas event in LA. Yes. I hope Winter Wonderland. I mean, I wonder where they're going to do it. It's going to be interesting to see. Bella notes, how are your muscle spasms? Do you feel they've decreased? Yes, they have decreased. Especially now that I've got some good magnesium back in my diet too. And I've been stretching and trying to, in fact, I should have had my water here, getting better at doing, the better I get at self-care, the better that gets. But it is getting better. Thank you for asking. Oh, thanks, Professor Kakan. You can describe free theta as good vibes. Yeah. I was trying to think about that the other day. How do you describe free theta? You're right. It's just like good vibes. Nisa says they cleared the planet all right and cleared out all of Clearwater. Yes, they did. It's like Scientology takeover in Clearwater. Sarah from Cali, welcome. You're a newish member here. Love your content. Thank you for being here. I'm assuming you're in California. Kind of the belly of the beast in ways. Thanks for being here. Anti-stupid people, I'm glad you caught alive as well. Welcome. OBG Foster, do you really get magnesium from PB&J sandwiches? I'll have to take your word for it. Mama Opal, you drink lots of electrolyte drinks with magnesium. Yes, I need to get better at that. I'm actually horrible at it. I don't know why. I ordered some that hopefully is a better flavor and I'll be more compliant, but I need to. I've been getting better at drinking my water. I've been like doing more like, you know, trying to come up with like a routine and a checklist on a little Post-it. So I remember to do things like drink water, take your vitamins, eat. That's what it's taking these days. Anti-stupid people, what do Sea Org member happen after their 1 billion contract is over? You know what? I don't know. They're not told. There's no like when your contract's over this. I would assume in Scientology, like anything, you re-sign another contract. You do it again. Lele says, I find it strange that Scientology is the only so-called religion that has copyright in their spiritual technology, and other religions don't. Shows Scientology is a business, not a religion. That is correct. That's a really good observation, and I would agree with that. It is one Scientology, if they would just like get away from the whole religion thing and just do what they are, which is a business, and we're just upfront about it, yeah, they would fare much better. But, you know, they get so much of the money they get. The vast majority of the money Scientology gets is from straight donations. And people want that tax deduction. And so they give it to Scientology. But if Scientology wasn't tax exempt, they would still have supporters. But I don't think they would have as much money. Yeah, Joe, the tablet form of magnesium's good. I just seem to do better if I drink it. And it's not even my favorite thing to do. I should start drinking it during the day. I remember when it's too late at night. And then I'm like, I can't drink it now or I'll have to pee 50 times before I can go to sleep. Scientology up north, is there one specific material thing you would wish to get for Christmas? Think we are allowed to spoil ourselves with nice things as well. Even better if it's a gift. I agree. I have on my wish list wearable blankets. Wearable blankets and comfortable socks. You know, like those like wearable blankets you can walk around in and comfortable socks. It's like those are the things I don't get myself. Powder vitamin brand. It's the best and they have a ton of flavors. I'll have to check that out. Thank you, Yadira, for the reminder to hit like and subscribe. Go ahead and make our day. Yeah, like a Snuggie, but these days they have so many different ones. Definitely has to be one with pockets. Yeah, very Minnesotan of me. Well, that way maybe then I can stop wearing my robe outside when I go to get the mail or do anything. I could just wear a wearable blanket. I feel like my neighbors need me to shake it up. Electric socks? Duchess Diana, you're rocking my world. I've never even heard of such a thing. Paula says if they lose tax exempt, they may be looking for a real estate agent. You might want to give them a call. Maybe I should get licensed in California and Florida. Yeah, Marcy Snuggie, you dated yourself. Foxglove, hey, you just got in oh, the gummy vitamins? Yeah, those are good too. Yeah, Helena, we need to get you one of those motivational water bottles that are marked with how much you need to drink by each time of day. No kidding. I do really well with checklists and things like that. The dream times, yes. Mama Opal, can you throw up my P.O. box? Professor Kakan says in 1965, Dad told me the religion angle was to keep government away from snooping into Scientology. It was common knowledge back then. That makes total sense, and I've heard that too. That people back in the day were more like, "Oh, we're going the religion route to keep the government out of it." Not so much because they felt it was religion. That's why they really lean into, don't you think, the whole, oh, it's an applied religious philosophy. What? Wow, Duchess Diana, I didn't realize they had so many chargeable things. Thank you, Mama Opal, for sharing the P.O. box. Thank you, Jersey Jan. Wow, rechargeable socks. I wonder, I do like, well, I love the heated seat in my car. In Minnesota, you need that kind of stuff. Helena, I have a nerve condition that makes my feet much worse in the cold, so I have to, oh, the electric socks for that. Okay, that makes sense. Professor Kakan says, have heard interviews that in 1954, when Hubbard invented the church, that many Scientologists wouldn't go for it and left. I totally believe that. Kelsey, hey. Hi, beautiful Natalie. Aloha from Iowa. Have you ever had a twin Bing candy bar? No. Twin Bing candy bar? No, never. But I would totally try it. Twin Bing candy bar. I don't even know what that is. Oh, Amanda. Yeah. I'll have to check out those electrolytes. I suck at that too, and I need to be doing that. Now Natalie will get 200 pairs of socks. Hey, bring it, because I am the worst. Tony always used to say, like, babe, why are you keeping the socks with the holes in them? I'm like, I don't know what it is. I don't know why I can't buy myself socks or wearable blankets. You know what it is? I think it's things that I feel like I don't need. I'm working on that. But I won't think twice about, like, if it's for my grandkids or one of my kids doing something. Sarah from Cali, you ride a motorcycle, heated grips, heated seats, heated vests and socks. Wow. That's cool. Yeah, send them on over. I'll try electric socks. Anti-stupid people hate that I have someone so deep in St. Hill org. They've something for 50 years to get me. Oh, they've tried for 50 years to get you. Does that mean I have an extremely IGZ? I don't know what IGZ is, but wow, they've been trying to recruit you for 50 years. Yeah, Scientology is not known for giving up on anything. I will say that. Whether it's recruiting somebody, going after somebody. Natalie, you do realize that you will now get hundreds of wearable blankets and socks. You will never need to buy them again. I'm all for it. I'm all for it. I'll share them with my daughter. I don't know why I can't bring myself to do it. I'm like, they're in my, I have them on a wish list. I have them in my cart. Well, I will not get it for myself just in case. Kelsey, you use a heated blanket. You never turn them off. Wow. That might be too hot for me on account of the menopause. JNC, hello. I am so glad you brought such wisdom from your pain and Scientology to your subscribers. I've learned so much. I appreciate that. I'm really glad. I've learned so much from all of you. I continue to. Jersey Jan, I think the slippers are rechargeable, so you don't have to have the cord on all the time. Yeah, Duchess Diana, I'm like you in the cold. Mama Opal, that's good. Yeah, that's a good idea. Put the wearable blanket in the cart and then tell your husband to buy it for you. I love that. Kimbo, hey. My daughter's heavy duty mechanic. 1 year I bought her a heater vest for work. Oh, yes. That makes sense. I did so much work on my garage yesterday. I was so proud of myself. I took yesterday off, you guys. and spent time with my granddaughter and my daughter and cleaned up the garage, went through a bunch of stuff, got the Christmas tree up. My body was wrecked though after that. What else? I feel like I got a bunch of stuff done yesterday. Well, Christmas decorations, that was a big part of it. Helena, Natalie, trust me, heated blanket plus ceiling fan. Hot flushes also from nerve pain. Ah, I have the ceiling fan on when I sleep, even in the wintertime. Just so I can whip off the blanket if I need to. And I have a mattress that's like a cooling mattress, and I think that that really helps too. But in my waking time, I get more of the cold sweats where I'm cold, but my feet and my hands are sweating. Abraham says there's a line by Milwaukee that has heated jackets, gloves, and socks for construction workers and mechanics. That makes sense. Joe, if there's not a local org with you, maybe there's a mission. Kay, good tip. Don't overconsume the electrolytes. Joe, has that doorknob been fixed properly yet? No. I think I found the doorknob though that goes to it when I was cleaning the garage. I think I found it. Anti-stupid people, sorry, I meant do I have an extremely IQ, high IQ? They've tried for so long, been deep in St. Hill, always wondered why they look so unhappy and smoke so much. Because they're in a cult. Yeah. You dodged that bullet. Keep dodging it. Yeah, cold sweats suck. Lele, Natalie, for the menopause hot flashes, I use a scarf that has Kelly beans inside them, which swells and keeps you cool for 8 hours. Wow, I've never heard of that. Wow. Abraham, I'm very handy. If you need help, I can walk you through it. Awesome. I had to call a friend the other day to find the water shutoff valve downstairs in my house so I could shut off the outside water. Justine, as much as I've learned from all the content creators, I still don't understand the difference between orgs and missions. Can you explain? That is a great question. Scientology organizations, which are called orgs, deliver up to the state of clear. Scientology missions are smaller and can only deliver, they cannot deliver auditor training. They're mostly for like getting people started. And L. Ron Hubbard said every org should have 10 missions around it that are feeding people to that org. I'm not aware that that has ever happened in the history of Scientology. So a Scientology org can deliver through the state of clear, including the training, but a Scientology mission delivers mostly beginner services and is supposed to be a feeder into a Scientology org. Hopefully that helps, Justine. And if not, just ask a follow-up question. God, I don't know why I'm craving donuts right now. Well, let's be honest. I'm always craving donuts. I just don't give in. Always. JNC, do you find it difficult to not react with your pre-programmed responses over your new known freedom? Do you find it difficult to not react with your pre-programmed responses? To not react with them over your new known freedom? JNC, can you ask me that a different way? I just want to make sure I understand it. To not react. So do you mean like, do I find it difficult to not react with no emotion, or do I find it difficult to react with emotion? It depends on what's going on. I feel like when you're, in my opinion, coming out of something like Scientology and not expressing your emotions, sometimes you can go too far the other way. And I've had to learn about self-regulation and regulating my own emotions while also being able to process them. So I guess, well, I'm going to see if you got a follow-up question to that to explain it more. But I think today anyways, I don't find it difficult. I don't react with pre-programmed responses. I don't. Because that's the whole idea that I've been working so much in 14 years is getting rid of those pre-programmed responses. Yes, Justine. So missions are for beginners. Yes. Usually you're going to be at a mission if you're just starting in Scientology, and then they will eventually send you to the org. Yeah, Barbara. Evening Primrose. I've been taking Black Cohosh, which I think has some evening primrose in it too. It's like a thing for menopause, but I agree with you. Yeah, like a franchise. People can open a mission like a franchise. Kimbo, I've not heard of the 2x2 cult. Jamie, I'm glad you are free from the cult. I have old friends and peers involved in Scientology. I just say a prayer for them. That is very nice. And sometimes that's all you can do until they're ready. Often, one question I get often is, I have a loved one in Scientology. What do I do? And my initial response is always be there for them. Be a friend, be a family member, whatever your role is, maintain that communication and be a safe space for them. Be supportive of them as an individual. You can do that without supporting what they're doing in Scientology. But if they feel safe, they're more likely to listen to you or come to you when they start to have doubts. That's my 2 cents. And at the end of the day, I mean, you know, being supportive, especially if it's a good friend or family member, is the right thing to do anyhow. But they're more likely when they start to have doubts, which all Scientologists have doubts at different times. Just a northern girl, does Black Cohosh work for you? I've always wondered about it. It does for me. It really helps overnight. I don't get the hot flashes. Rarely, once in a while. And the cold, I don't know, the cold sweats are like weirdly during the day. But, those hormonal fluctuations are just, you never know when it's going to happen. But I do find it to be helpful. Justine, what's the difference between a public and a Scientologist who lives on the property? Well, a public Scientologist would also be called a Scientology parishioner. That's just somebody who studies and applies Scientology, attends courses and services, pays for it, pays donations for all of their front groups. Somebody who lives on property would likely be somebody in the Sea Organization who lives there at the Blue Buildings. That's someone who has signed a billion-year contract 24/7 to work for Scientology and L. Ron Hubbard. Well, now David Miscavige. And the person who lives at the Blue Buildings or lives on a Scientology base eats in a cafeteria. If you're not married, you live in a dorm with bunk beds 3 high with multiple people. And then when you get married, you can have your own room if you're lucky. So a public person pays for their Scientology services but goes home to their house. A staff member signs a 2.5 or 5 year contract and works at a Scientology mission or a Scientology org. A Sea Organization member signs a billion-year contract, wears a uniform, although Scientology staff do wear a uniform as well now. They didn't used to back in my day. And with a billion-year contract, they're supposed to come back lifetime after lifetime to work for Scientology. Great question. Professor Kakan, doesn't RTC in effect keep the mission in line with the threat of pulling their license to Scientology tech? I believe so. The Religious Technology Center that's what David Miscavige is the chairman of the board of. He is the chairman of the board of the Religious Technology Center, and they are charged with protecting the trademarks and whatnots of Scientology. And really, that's where David Miscavige runs Scientology out of. And I don't doubt at all that they would threaten to pull the license. At one point, they did it. Do you remember the whole thing with the mission holders? That's a whole story for another time, but they can totally do that. Anti-stupid people, my one is so deep, so that must be your person in Scientology. What can I say or do to make him wake up. Travels from St. Hill to Walsh Manor every day. Maybe asking questions about like the future, like, hey, what are your long-term future plans? If there's something, what is, you know, maybe if this is somebody that you and you live near there, maybe you can do activities together, reintroduce them to the world, things like, hey, going to movies, taking walks, going on a bike ride, whatever it is, to try and get them to, you know, experience life outside of Scientology like that. But there's really not much. If they're a hardcore Scientologist, you could ask questions and say, hey, I'm curious with Scientology. You could even say, I saw something on the internet the other day, and I'm sure it's not true because you wouldn't be involved in an organization where this was true, but it was that David Miscavige physically beats his staff. Have you heard that? I mean, I know there's no way it can be true. That's a way of sharing information with them without putting them on the defense. Not to say they wouldn't be defensive after that and just go, no, that's not true. But if you do it in a non-accusatory way, delivery is everything. Because if you said, David Miscavige beats his staff, that family member, that person in Scientology is going to pull away because you're being antagonistic. But if you do it with love or out of curiosity, I heard this, you know, can you tell me anything about that? Might be a way to open the door and get a read on where that person is at. And even if they don't believe it, you've now planted the seed that it's being said. Justine, as a public, can you just leave? LOL, I mean, go home. What's stopping the public from just not going back? You can just leave. They'll call you, they'll show up at your house, but you have every right to be like, no, I'm done, get out. I mean, that's kind of what I had to do in the end. You can, but the way they control people is saying that, well, if you leave Scientology and you don't leave with our okay or our approval, then you're going to get declared a suppressed person, which means you're cut off from your friends and family who remain. So it's always that threat of loss of people that keep people going back. Oh, you got to come back and just leave the right way. Do your security check, all of that. Justine, no problem. Ask all the questions you want. Number one stunner, thank you. That's very kind of you to say. Paula, that's a good one. Ask him if he ever had a dream or something they always wanted to do that takes the pressure off the cult as my future and allows them to explore their own thoughts. Exactly. I love that. Lori Plays says, so I just looked at my 2 streams from Friday, 1 vertical, 1 horizontal. 3 ads were placed on the vertical, 29 on the horizontal. Seems advertisers like the traditional look. I was surprised. Yeah, and sometimes they put too many ads on. I got to go back and take some off sometimes. Unfortunately, I'm very far away from him, but the way you tell me to react sounds good. Yeah, you know, write letters, keep it positive, because this is the person. Hey, Aaron. This is the person, like, they will more likely reach out to you when they are ready, or if they get in trouble in Scientology, and if they know they have a place to land and people, then they're more likely to reach out to you. Be a safe space for them. Sarah from Cali, I've heard an ex-Mooney named Steve Hassan speak. He is well known in the how to support, help family, friends who are in deep, great resources. I agree. Rick Ross is another one. If you just Google and search up Rick Ross, I had him on the channel maybe like 3 or 4 weeks ago. Sorry, random noise. It's my trauma response. What is that? What is that? It's my daughter. Joanne Holly, hi. Natalie, as one of many never ends, do you think we comprehend the full grasp of Scientology? Personally, I know I have such respect and admiration for the strength of those who've left. I don't know how anybody can grasp the fully comprehend Scientology, including Scientologists, being that the playing field gets changed all the time for them. I think many of you have a really good understanding of what Scientology is, and more importantly, why it's so harmful to people. I think it's amazing, actually. But thank you, Joanne. Hey, me and Taz. Yeah, you'll have to catch up. Nikki, good morning from Australia. Scientology up north. Did you also believe that suppressive people were as bad and dangerous as actual criminals, such as murderers and arsonists? No, I did not. I did not. I did not buy that. Even when I believed that, when people were being declared suppressive, I still was always like, I don't know, something a little sus about that. Very true, Professor Kakan. It's the term that they like to use to normalize what they're doing or try and make it look like it's a religion. Freebird, another one from Australia. Good day, Monday morning in Australia. Thank you for being here and catching up. Make sure you hit that like and check your subscribe. I love all the Aussies here. And it's already Monday morning for you guys. Oh, this daylight savings time, not my favorite thing these days. Bella notes, are you still going to get your tattoos? I have one on my left arm for my brother and one on my right arm for my best friend. I am still thinking about it. I wanted to get the coordinates of where we put Tony's ashes here because I have my Live Aloha tattoo. It's so hard to show. You can't even see it there. You can kind of see it. And I thought I would do it on the opposite side. But I'm having it done by a man who specializes in Hawaiian tattoos. And he comes to town on occasion, and he was just here, and I was going to do it. And I realized it's not time. I'm not ready to have it right there where I see it all the time. I'm just not there yet. I feel like eventually that will be a nice thing, but right now is not. I hit the pause button. I know, Laurie. It's going to eventually here in Minnesota, it'll be dark by 5. Thank you for the reminder, Jersey Jan. Oh, look at that. Tiggy, we got another Aussie here. That's awesome. Love listening to you and other SPTV peeps. That's awesome. Thank you for being here. Oh, Jersey Jan, driving to work in the dark, the worst. Thank you, me and Taz. Wow, Joanne, it's already like that. Wow. Yeah, we're getting there. So that means tomorrow, normally I wake up at 6, so 6 o'clock new time is really 5. That's going to be fun. I'll be dragging ass on the recap tomorrow. And there's so much to talk about. It gets dark in Scotland around 4:30. Wow, Joe. I feel like here in Minnesota, it'll start getting dark around 4:32. The sun went down 27 minutes ago. It's nice and Monday. Helen, I love that. Greg, what do you mean you lost your time machine? Oh, Abraham, I didn't realize in Miami that it got that dark that early too. I guess that makes sense. In Hawaii, we didn't do daylight savings time. This is a mainland thing. So I didn't grow up putting clocks forward or backwards. And then when I, went to Los Angeles to train for Scientology there was when I was introduced to daylight savings time, which I actually liked because when we got to fall back, we got an extra hour in the Sea Org and time was so precious that it was like we got that extra hour to sleep or do something. Was watching streams from LA last night. The Scientos were ruthless on the neighbors. Yeah, they're not thinking about the neighbors. They don't care. They're going to blast their annoying music. You know what I'm glad though? I'm glad the neighbors are saying something. That's where it starts. The neighbors have to complain and say something. Ah, Freebird, that is so sad about your friend's daughter. Buy a star in Tony's name. He would love that. He would spend so much time just looking up at the moon and the stars ever since he was a child. That's what he would share with me. And he would go outside in the middle of the night if he couldn't sleep and he would look at the sky. Oh, Bella Notes, dark by 3:30. Oh, that's horrible. Sandy McKenna, I'm with you. I hate changing the clock back. It just throws us. Several came out with bullhorns. Really, some guy? That's fantastic. Scientology Up North says one of the neighbors came to the IS entrance and shouted on a megaphone. Brilliant. Whose stream is that on? I want to check it out. Paula, that's right. Buy Tony a whole galaxy. He would appreciate that. He had a telescope and he would drag it out there and just look at the stars. Like I said, when he wasn't sleeping well for a long time, and that's if the weather was good, he would do that. Yeah, I saw some of Mama Opal. I saw some of MD Media's, but I didn't catch that. On Kelly's, okay. The dream times. When you were in Scientology, did they recognize regular holidays and national holidays? Recognize, yes. Give people the day off? No. Not if you're a Scientology staff member or a C organization member. Holidays really didn't mean anything. You didn't get that time off. But sometimes, if your statistics were up and you got permission, you could do something. In the C organization, we would maybe have like a special Thanksgiving meal, but you didn't get more time to eat it. It was the same amount of time. But you don't get the day off. Which, think about at regular orgs, right? Where it's not Sea Org, you still don't get it off because they're open all the time, even on Christmas, even on Thanksgiving. Yeah, OBG Foster, it does confuse the animals, it's daylight savings time. Juanita, good to see you. Hello, yes, Hawaii and Arizona do not observe daylight savings. I was raised in Puerto Rico, and over there, we did not change the time either. Returning to the States, that was a pain in the brain. I agree. That's true, Juanita. We grew up the same way that way. Kay, Tom said, how long have you been out of Scientology? 14 years. It's going to be 15 years on January 1st, 2025. New Year's Day, I believe, is when we officially gave Scientology the finger. I'll have to remember that and celebrate. Oh, me and Taz, I didn't know that. Daylight savings started in Canada in 1908 and the States 1918. Interesting. Anti-stupid people, come visit South Africa. You can stay with me and we'll go protest in Cape Town. I would love to visit there sometime. Joanne, thank you for the super sticker. Hey, Natalie, here in Nova Scotia, Canada, it is 37.4 cold. Oh my gosh. Is that Fahrenheit? Whoa, I'm not looking forward to that. No way, Helena. My anniversary is one day after Reese's. Stop. Are you serious? I didn't know that. We got to do something special. Wow, I didn't know that. That's cool. Dang, we have a lot in common. Gosh, I have been like oddly hungry today. Sitting here now thinking I'm hungry and it's nowhere near lunch or dinner. She's New Year's Eve from what I remember. Oh, okay. Yeah. So, and I was New Year's Day, I'm pretty sure. Wow. I'll have to talk to her about that. That's cool. That is cool. Welcome from another Nova Scotian. Love that. You're eating an early supper, Kay? Yeah, I'm definitely going to probably eat something. I have to do some accounting that I have been procrastinating on. Hitzel, hey, good to see you. Don Gloves, thanks for being here. It was New Year's Eve that Erin accidentally doxed her. Wow, okay. Wow, that's funny that our days so close together. Professor Kakan, in the before times, we might get Christmas Day off and New Year's Day off because most of the public were going to be with their families that day. Ah, yeah. I think for regular, Professor Kakan, was that as a staff member or in the Sea Org? I'm curious. Okay, yeah, you better go to bed early. I get up at 6, but it's going to feel like 5. I know, I hope to get to bed early too. Mhm. All right, you guys, we should wrap up. I have been, like I said, procrastinating on doing something I have got to get done. Thank you, Freebird. I just want to say I appreciate your ability and commitment to stay out of drama. You're one smart lady. Yeah. I lived 35 years of drama. I'm like, I have no desire to go back to that. And I just feel that life is too short to not seek out things that are joyful, hopeful, pleasurable. Life isn't all rainbows and unicorns, but it's hard enough without trying to make it harder for people. And everybody's going through, their own thing and struggles. It's tough. We can just try and give each other more, patience and grace as much as we can. I think it's helpful. Oh, non-Sea Org staff. Okay, that makes sense. I could see that then, that you'd have more opportunity to take those days off. Joe, who makes up the majority of Scientologists, public, staff, or Sea Org? Public. It would be public. I am pretty sure. I did not go and count, but based on how it's always been before, back in my day, that's what I think. Oh, Bridge. Okay, so Confident Chris speaks to the neighbor guy on his stream. I'll have to look for that as well. Okay. Yeah, if I get up at 6, it's going to be like 5. No, if I get up at 6, we fall back. Spring ahead, fall back. So 6 is really 5. Either way, it's messed up. Kay, I'm so glad you got to meet other people when you're here. Everybody, big alohas to you. Tomorrow, I'm going to do the recap at 9 a.m. Central, and there's so much stuff to share right now. I almost did it today because I'm like, there's so much. I don't know if I can wait. Kelly was great out at Big Blue yesterday. She's hilarious. Yeah, she is. I love how she makes friends with people. You just find her just chatting it up with somebody. I really do. So I hope you guys can join tomorrow. If you don't catch me live, catch it on the replay. If you're new to my channel, I recap news about Scientology Monday through Friday, and I do other content on the weekends, and we'll sometimes do a recap, but I like to just check in with you guys. Hitzels, resend the email in case I didn't get it. Natalie@lifeafteroccult.com. Maybe try that. Malarkey, I'm with you. You'll be tired for weeks due to the time change. And on Tuesday or Wednesday, I'll do a notification. We're going to do another members only live. That's going to be on Tuesday or Wednesday. All right, you guys. Thank you for being here. Hit that like. Check that subscribe. And I will see you guys in the morning. I hope you have a cult-free Sunday.